So about 2 months ago, I set out on a mission to build the best AMD gaming PC that money could buy. The current platform was going to be AM5, and me coming from AM4 meant that I was going to have to throw away my CPU, my motherboard, my RAM, probably my CPU cooler as well. Now the challenge I came up with was buy everything used. I already knew that it was going to be kind of hard to find good deals on AM5 parts because everybody's looking for them and they just came out like a year ago, so of course they're going to be in really good condition and probably really close to MSRP. And the challenge was build the AM5 PC and not go for a pre-built. I would have probably gotten a better deal at that if I just kept looking, but yeah, we gotta build it. Now, why would I go out my way to call this the best gaming PC money can buy? Well, I called it full AMD gaming PC, which means we're gonna go full AMD parts, CPU and GPU. They're gonna fuse together like this. It's gonna be the 7800X3D and the 7900 XTX with 24 gigabytes of video memory. We're not going for a 4090 because that's just too expensive. Now, all I had to do was find these two parts and then find literally everything else. I had to find an AM5 motherboard, RAM, a CPU cooler for AM5, a case, fans, and a power supply. Now, aside from old IED looking power supplies, there were just no good deals on AM5 parts yet because they were just too recent. So my strategy was barter like a pirate and haggle for any discount that I could get and make the most of what I have. Now, making the most out of what you already have is exactly what I did when it comes to storage. I just kept my old SSD, a 1TB MV2 from Kingston, which is about $50. I bought it about a year ago. But yeah, just add $50 to the counter. I just didn't want to spend, $30-$40 on a used SSD. But you can do that. I just decided to go with my own. It's not cheating, right? If I just go with my own SSD. Now, aside from storage and probably thermal paste, something else that I already had was the case, because believe it or not, this project actually started in about December when I just wanted to move my AM4 gaming PC to another case because my initial case was just built like an oven. Believe it or not, this has just been collecting dust ever since December because I wanted to stick to the challenge. But in fact, on the used market, at least in my area, there's just like $80 Be Quiet cases and $50 like Cooler Master, really old, like cheap, rusty cases. And there was just no good option at that price point. And at $56, I think the CH370 is gonna be really cool. Somehow Deepcool played a really big role in our build today just because they make really good parts for not that much money. And why not go with a $56 case at this point when everything else is just a really used $40 case or something? I could have put a brand new AM5 PC in that. Forgot to mention this build was gonna be an MATX build just because I went for ATX my whole life and I just want to switch to something a little bit smaller. Jesus Christ. Money shot. Yeah, let's go for another money shot. Doesn't smell like kids in a factory, and that's a pretty good sign so far. There's a really nice glass side panel, which I'm not trying to break right now. There's these mesh panels on the bottom and on the top, which are gonna make cleaning a little bit easier. This case is just mesh everything. It has this little cross pattern and then it just turns into a line. And there's the side of the front panel as well, which is also a grill kind of mesh thingy. I'm really digging this headphone holder on the front panel. It's just probably gonna hold my headphones here. And the side panel is magnetic as well, so you just lift it up by this handle thingy. And there's the anti-sag GPU bracket. This is pretty cool, probably adjustable from the back. Just 4 slots in the back and a Deepcool fan. Now for the next component that I got, I actually haggled a little bit more. As I said, I wanted to go for the best CPU in the market for gaming right now, and that was going to be the 7800X3D. I got this about 2 months ago, and these were getting snatched left and right. They were about $350 new, but on the used market, I found this one for $320, and it came in this little tray. The guy said it was barely used. But $30 off MSRP for a thing that doesn't come with a warranty or like a receipt or like an invoice or anything wasn't good enough for me. So I just went with the, can you go any lower than that? And I managed to bring this boy down to a whopping $300, which was gonna take our total to $406. Aside from the case, which is actually kind of cheating, I actually got this first. So the second PC part was actually gonna be the GPU. Now this is a respectable RX 7900 XTX with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. This is gonna be enough for everything I do, and it's the best GPU that AMD makes, not the best 7900 XTX. I actually ordered this from a guy and he just sent it to me. The guy said it was in working order, and Oh, is this tape? I was in fact eyeing an RTX 4070 Ti, which was hovering around like $700 used in my area. But this was right after the Supers came out and the prices weren't really adjusted, so I just decided to go with this instead. This was gonna be about $930 new, but I found a listing for $806. But this wasn't gonna be good enough for me, and I tried the classic, "Can you go any lower than that?" And he brought it down to $780, which was pretty cool. Now we got the quick installation guide. Oh, we also get a support bracket. That is pretty cool. I'm guessing this just goes into one of the slots on the case. And here's the 7900 XTX for a whopping $780. And that's a total of $1,186. Honestly, the fans are a little bit greasy and like it's kind of a scratch on this. Well, it's a 7900 XTX. Hope it works. I never actually got these parts tested or opened before, so hoping for the best. Now this should be worth it for $1,200 so far. Where's that little support bracket thingy? Did I just get scammed? Did this guy just give me the bracket installation guide and no bracket? Is it like installed on this? No, it isn't. What's going on with these covers, man? There's just one in here? Man just ate the rest of the covers. Oh, just $1,200 down the drain so far. Let's keep going. You guys gotta keep in mind that these components are like a year old and purchases might not even be a year old at this point. So everything's just gonna be a full box or like brand new or just barely used. That was also the case for the RAM, which came brand new in box as well. Hopefully no scam. The internet actually said for the 7800X3D, you need 6000 megahertz frequency, 32 gigabytes minimum, and CL30 latency. And a few days of searching later, the Vengeance kit with RGB from Corsair came up on a used listing for only $109, and this retails for about $130. But you know, I had to hit him with the, "Can you go any lower than that?" And it worked. I got $9 off and I got this for $100. So basically $30 off MSRP, I guess. I just want to find really cheap, good condition AM5 used parts, and this isn't really the case for parts that came out like not even a year ago. Corsair RGB. This guy lived in a dark alley and called me at about 9 p.m. so I was just like, hell yeah, cheap RAM. As soon as I walked into his garage, because he left his door open, there was a huge box, an IKEA Drona, I'm pretty sure it's called, filled with these 32 gigabyte RGB sticks. There were probably like 150 boxes just of the same exact thing, and I have no idea how he got these. But the best RAM that the CPU could have for $100, that's a pretty big W. Let's just keep going. Now I'm actually embarrassed to show you guys the next component, but I actually got a used power supply from a pretty good manufacturer. It was Super Flower, but it's a really dodgy, refurbished and scratched power supply. Even though this is kind of a good model and it's 80 plus gold, just don't go for a used PSU, whatever you do, especially if it just looks like a bomb from CSGO. This guy just said local pickup and it was actually a store, and he had a lot of these and just a lot of power supplies and PCs from like 10 years ago, and this was just $37, so you know I had to go for it. I should have just bought a new PSU at this point and just not go for something that looks like an IED, but I already cheated on the challenge with the case, so this PC is going to need constant supervision just because of how this power supply looks like, because it's probably going to blow up. I'm actually going to have to unplug the PC every single time I finish playing or using it, because this is a 750 watt PSU. I kind of panicked because AMD was saying minimum 800 watts or greater power supply, but since the GPU when full load eats about 300 watts and the CPU is actually pretty efficient at about 120, this 750 watts was going to be just fine. It's just that this actual power supply was going to be a little bit dodgy to work with. Now the ad said a Legion HX, which is actually rated pretty high on that power supply tier list little thing, and this is the actual code for the Legion HX. The problem is it should say Legion on it as well, and I'm pretty sure this is an older model of it and it's actually called Golden Green HX, but $37 80 plus gold power supply, pretty good deal. For CPU cooler, I went with one from Deep Cool, but this time it was a used product. This guy taped so much bubble wrap together. Gotta rip it apart, man. Sounds like a Lego box. Not much to say here. I just wanted to go for a Peerless Assassin. I heard that's a really good air cooler and really cheap, to be honest. But I couldn't find any used good deal, and just They were hovering around MSRP on the used market as well. So I just went for a 2-year-old AK620 instead. A full box, which should be missing a certain screwdriver that the seller mentioned. This was $65 new, and this guy listed it for $45, and I managed to haggle down with a certain technique I like to call, can you go any lower than that? And I managed to bring it down to a $39 with shipping included. It was gonna be like 50 something with shipping, so pretty good deal on this one as well. I saw the digital version of the Decool AK620. I really wanted to get that, but it was kind of expensive. So for 39 bucks with shipping, it was kind of a really good deal, to be honest. Alright, so let's see, because the guy said there's some AM5 things in there as well. Oh, Jesus. The AK620 series. There it is, AMD AM5/AM4. So this is gonna work. You guys should become channel sponsors at this point. I'm guessing one of these is for AM5. I have no idea which one of these it is, but God help us all. We gotta give AM5 the D in this one. Now with the power supply, or the IED, plus the CPU cooler, the total rises up to a whopping 1,362 bucks. The motherboard came in a Grande Vento Extra Dry Prosecco Italian wine box. Let's do the motherboard money shot. Oh. Wasn't expecting this to just bounce around and count on this for protection in that huge wine box. What is this for? Previous mistakes in my AM4 build led me to daily drive an A520M chipset motherboard, and I just wanted something a tier above. So anything 650, 650M, or you know, X670 or something like that. The actual motherboard that I was looking at from the same seller was a Pro B650MP, but my dreams were shattered when the seller told me he just sold it earlier, so he just had this one instead. That one actually had two USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, which were 10 gigabit. This one just has 4 or 5 gigabit ports on the back and no support for USB-C in the front. It has worse VRM cooling from what I can tell. That one had 4 RAM slots. This one only has 2. He listed the 650MP at $100, and that was like 120 new. But this one was 100 new, and he had it listed at 80. So I just had to pull the trigger and get the 650MB, because that was the only thing that I found. But I'm kind of sad that there weren't any cheaper like motherboards, and there were only like A620M chipsets everywhere, and I didn't want to spend like $60 on a really bad chipset, so I just got this instead. We got a brand new IO shield, we got the cables, and I can't believe this is brand new. This was the only board that actually made sense to buy at this price, because the other ones were just priced at MSRP, and whenever you try to haggle, they're just like, no bro, it's basically like brand new. I just got it like a week ago. We got our little M.2 screws. Shout out for MSI, man. Now for the fans, I actually didn't find any significantly good deals aside from like a one-off, like a $5 Be Quiet fan. So for the price point I had in mind, I actually saw Arctic was running their 23-year anniversary sale, which they're still running today, but not for the fans that I had in mind. I actually wanted to get the P12 Maxes, which were a revamp of the P12s. Supposedly they were going to be a little bit quieter and better and faster. Arctic didn't actually apply a sale on these, so they were like 40 something dollars with shipping, and I saw a local store sell them for 37 with free shipping, so I just got them there instead. A 5-pack of fans from Arctic, P12 Maxes, supposedly really good fans. Hopefully these are gonna work out. Got some screws as well, and this is how they look like. It's just your regular P12 but a little bit better, and I guess these rubber thingies, I'm not sure if those are on the P12s as well. Hopefully they're gonna work out great. But now it's time to build a system. This is actually my first time building a PC on camera, and I really don't want it to turn out like the Verge PC build or something. I'll put these on backwards. We gotta give it the D. This is not for resale on the sticker. Who's gonna resell a sticker? This is kind of heavy, man. The 7800X3D. Hopefully it works and it's not just a bricked unit. And now we pray. Man, something's not right. I can feel it. Oh. Is it right in there? Apparently I just just had to take out one. God, I think I screwed these the other way around. These were supposed to face that way and this one not outwards but inwards. This looks horrible, but I'm just gonna come back to it. I didn't install the RAM. We did not get scammed. Wow, a metal PCIe slot. It's time for storage. With the CH370 we actually get zip ties as well, which is real cool. Bomb has been planted. The fact that these PCIe power cables say SLI ready just makes me think about the past. Like, what even are these cables? It's not even ketchup and mustard in there. Also, it's really nice how these slot covers just have screws. Like, it's a cheap case, but it's really well made. The little bracket is in the way, so I just gotta pull it down. It's really nice how there's just thumb screws in the back and you can just slide it up and down. Oh no, I took off the top slot cover and not the two middle ones. There we go. There's the click. Man, the GPU sag is unreal. We gotta do something about this. Looks like I just wired up a bomb. Here I was cable managing the PC and I just realized there's only one fan header left on the motherboard and I'm not going to be able to daisy chain these cheap fans. And there's no hub in the case, nothing, because I just forgot to get an extra hub. So I'm only going to be able to connect one extra fan for the time being until I get a hub. That kind of sucks. Well, I guess this is my second oven PC. Now the build is finally complete, and one visible flaw already is that single fan on the front panel and just one rear fan in the back, because I never actually bothered to get a used splitter or a fan hub. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Aside from that, the build kind of looks hideous in terms of color. I mean, there's just some red, some blue, some RGB Vengeance RAM, and some ketchup and mustard and rainbow cables up in there. I really hope that this is gonna turn on and all the parts work, because most of these parts were just shipped to me, so I have no idea if they actually work or not. But most of them look to be just in real good condition, so let's plug it in. Moment of truth. Alright, so far so good. Moment of truth. Yeah, we got RGB RAM. Fans are spinning. What? Are the CPU fans spinning? They are. Is the GPU fan spinning? It is not, but the Arctic fan is spinning. Ryzen 7 7800X3D, so it's not a copy. It's not a scam. We got fans spinning, video out, RGB RAM. What else do you need? Honestly, I just thought the power supply was gonna be a bomb, or the GPU was gonna be dead, or the CPU was gonna be dead. Now with the PC turned on successfully with no faulty parts yet, I think it's time to celebrate. Yeah. Oh! Look at this pristine, clear window that's never gonna be this clear ever again. Now with all being said, I think it's time for the video games. We're gonna try some CS2 first, just so we can see how the CPU performs. I guess we're just getting 400 FPS on CS2. That's pretty nice, even though the PC sounds like a jet engine. And this is 4 times MSAA, so Jesus, it sounds like a jet engine because I haven't set any fan curves or anything. But yeah, about 400 FPS, 380, 350, 80% load on the GPU and just 250 watts on average. This is a really CPU intensive game, so I guess we're just limited to 380 FPS. Overall, it's a nice experience, especially on this like 12-year-old monitor, which is literally just 60 Hertz. What do you mean Black Ops 6? What? Alright, so extreme, 100% resolution, VRAM scale target. Jesus Christ, there's 24 gigs of VRAM in here. Everything is on ultra, and water quality is on wave wetness, whatever that means. Man, this is looking pretty good. 230, 220 FPS. Still 220 FPS. That's crazy. Am I gonna be able to get a kill? GPU's going for about 360 watts. CPU 63. Oh my god, man. At least let me win the gulag. Oh my god. Is this overkill for Overwatch? I'm pretty sure it is. 600 FPS, 575. Jeez. Seems like 360 watts is the GPU's limit. The CPU going for 60. I don't even have space on my mouse pad for this. It's just so ironic playing on the 60 Hz monitor and having 600 FPS. Yep, Rust 230 FPS. Is there anything left to say anymore? It's just the best AMD PC you can get. Now that was it for the best AMD used gaming PC build, and it went better than I expected. But hopefully we're going to test the limits of this PC in another video and probably play a little bit more than esports titles. It was kind of a bummer because I couldn't even remember to get a splitter or a hub for the fans. So I just ended up with 2 fans in the case for the time being. We didn't even get to test out the best feature of this PC case, which was the headphone holder. But wait, at this point I had spent enough time filming and building this PC to the point of severe sleep deprivation, and somehow I never actually realized I mounted the CPU cooler the wrong way. See, the cooler actually came in mounted like this. And even though the logo was facing that way, if the seller was smart enough, he would have used it the correct way with fans blowing to the rear of the case, which was completely fine. Somehow I was awake enough to turn the heatsink the other way around, but I gave up as soon as I decided to mount the fans backwards, meaning they would take air in from the same spot the rear fan was taking air out from. So the next morning when I noticed this, I got to work. I'm pretty sure the seller also had a hard time with this cooler because he mounted these brackets on the top and the bottom of the fans instead of on the sides, since this arrow is supposed to show you the direction of airflow when looking at the motherboard from the front, not from the top. So I took the brackets off, mounted them to the sides, did the same for the other fan, and then noticed some weird rubber pads stuck to the heatsink for the middle fan just on the top, and these didn't seem like they belonged with the cooler. So then I took these off, and then I finally turned on the PC and felt hot air come out the back, since there was literally neutral air pressure from these fans canceling each other out. And somehow CS2 CPU temps dropped from like 70 something degrees down to 64. And now we have the best used AMD PC build right before our eyes with just one fan, but not for long. As soon as I realized I didn't have any fan splitters or hubs, I just ordered this $5 pair of splitters, which hopefully wasn't gonna fry our motherboard, to be honest. And with all the fans installed, the best used AMD gaming PC project little used thingy was finally complete. Oh, and here's Cyberpunk running on it as well. 1080p high, about 170 FPS. Pretty good, 180. Moving on to Ultra, 155, 160. About the same exact thing, honestly. Still looks really, really good, even with that FSR turned on. Ray tracing low preset, not much to say, just 130 something FPS. Medium, I don't really see a difference, about 100 FPS. Keep in mind this is 1080p, so probably gonna look the same. Ray tracing Ultra, 85, 80 FPS. Dropped about 20, 15, and honestly, I'm gonna be playing at this resolution, it just looks really good. This overdrive preset, I don't even know what I was expecting, it's just kind of janky, going around 50, 55 FPS. That's playable, definitely, but you're just gonna stress out your PC. Ultra ray tracing with no FSR just looks really crisp or really good. But honestly, I don't know. It's about 100 FPS. It's almost the same as just ray tracing Ultra with FSR on. It's probably CPU limited. Overdrive with no FSR for 1080p, just 30 FPS. 29, 28. What?